the way that we work with liability, with drivers who have killed pedestrians and cyclists. I think that needs to be brought into line with the way they do things on the continent, in the Netherlands and Germany. I think there's a lot of things that need to be done, and there are examples of where they're being done properly all over the world, that we can take those best practices and apply them here in the UK. For example, in Groningen, which is a town in the north of the Netherlands, they have a 57% mode share for cycling. That's almost 6 out of every 10 journeys is made by bicycle. And the way that they've done that, Groningen used to be a lot like Bristol is today, choked with motor vehicles, congested, impacted by noise and air pollution. And in the 60s and 70s, they made a concerted effort to really prioritize cycling and walking. And you can see the results of their 4-decade-long campaign. I went to Groningen last April, and the transport planner, Cor van der Klauw, showed me around, and it's very, very impressive what they've done. The city center, they have a new underground bike park that has capacity for 6,000 bicycles. It costs 10 million euros. They've got rentals, repairs for bikes. They've got valet bike parking. And they have these red cycle expressways that go everywhere throughout the city. And they've used this concept, this philosophy called filtered permeability, where motor vehicles are filtered out and can only use this coarse grain, can only use major roads, whereas cyclists and walkers can use the whole street network, and they're free to use that. So this has reduced road casualties, it's improved health and quality of life, and I think we need to look in Britain more at these types of examples from the continent and elsewhere.
You are a big advocate of a concerted push towards walking and cycling and more use of public transport, but I think there are going to be some Lounge TV viewers that may be concerned that the first 2 modes of transport are particularly risky, and obviously their job is to make travel safer. So how do you square that?
Well, I think we need to look at the whole picture when we look at transport policy. We need to bring a holistic approach to solving the very, very serious problem of traffic fatalities and injuries on our roads today. We need to put the potential danger that one exposes oneself to when you're cycling in context. For example, in the year 2003, 114 cyclists were killed in the UK. In that same year, 72,000 people died from inactivity related heart disease and obesity causes. So I think what we're doing is we're scaring people into inactivity, and that's leading to this obesity pandemic across the developed world. We need to balance those modes, those priorities, and I think it's been assumed for too long that if you boost the number of people walking and cycling in a town, you're going to boost the number of fatalities and injuries by the same proportion. And I think the experience of the Netherlands and the experience of places like London, which has seen a 91% increase in cycling since the congestion charge was put in, belie that kind of assumption. What we've seen in London since those 91% increase in cycling is a 19% reduction in overall casualties from cyclists. So as you've seen an increase in the number of cyclists, you've seen an actual decrease in overall injuries and fatalities in the capital. And I think this is happening for a couple of reasons. One is that drivers become more accustomed to sharing the roads with cyclists if there are more of them. They're more used to seeing them and avoiding them and learning how to drive with them. The other is that, of course, we're not born with a steering wheel in our hand or a set of handlebars. We are multimodal. A lot of us are multimodal users of the transport system. So as there are more cyclists, a lot of these are also drivers. So by cycling on the roadways, we become more empathetic toward the needs of cyclists. Some things that can seem really dangerous that cyclists do, like riding in the middle of a narrow lane. If you're a cyclist, you understand that that's really important to do in order to avoid the dangerous door zone. And as a driver, sharing the road with cyclists, you're going to be much more likely to respect other cyclists who do that if you're a cyclist yourself. So I think overall we need to look at the safety, the health, and the environmental benefits of encouraging more people out of their cars and onto particularly bicycles, walking, public transport, because these are going to tick all the boxes. These are going to, having more people getting out of their cars and using the green modes is going to improve people's health, it's going to improve the environment, it's going to reduce carbon emissions, it's going to address the obesity crisis and improve local quality of life, and certainly bring the levels of casualties, fatalities, and injuries down.
So do you see any positives from individual motorised transport?
I do. I mean, I think I gave up my car, I sold my car 10 years ago, and I've been getting around by public transport, walking and cycling ever since, and I really haven't missed my car. I mean, when I do need a car, I'll rent one to go on a road trip, for example, with friends, and I think that's a really good use of a car. But I think right now our society is very, very car dependent, and we're addicted to our cars. It really is an addiction, and the scary part about it is that we don't see it as an addiction. We see it as just normal life. But the inclination, the tendency for us to jump in our car for every trip, however short, is leading us into a situation where we're bringing some pretty severe side effects down on society, and that includes, you know, all these things: noise pollution, air pollution, climate change, and so on. And I think that just as it can be really nice to have a glass of wine or two with dinner, that's a good relationship with alcohol. If you drink 3 bottles of wine and you end up vomiting in the gutter and having a terrible hangover, that's a bad use. You know, arguably, it's a dysfunctional relationship with alcohol. So I think there is a level of car use that can be beneficial, that is balanced and is limited. But the primary usual mode need to become the non-motorized modes and public transport, and we need to use cars for the purpose for which they're suited. Right now, we're using them for every purpose, and we're bringing down, we're experiencing the negative side effects, and really endangering the future stability of our atmosphere because of that.
You've been busy disseminating your study's findings this year, so what is next for you?
Well, I hope to be able to continue the dialogue with local communities about the effects of motor vehicle dependence on them, to work together with local communities and politicians, both on a local and a national scale, to seek solutions, and continue to campaign for solutions that will really lead us out of this crisis of car dependence that I think we're experiencing today in the UK.
Josh, you're our next guest in the lounge in UK Morse on the 18th of December. What are you hoping to get from that?
Well, I hope to hear the opinions of road safety professionals and talk about other solutions, some of these innovative engineering solutions like shared spaces, filtered permeability. I think there's a lot of really exciting proposals and policies being discussed in the UK right now, and I look forward to hearing other people's opinions and sharing some of my own. So I welcome people to come and log in and join the dialogue.
Joshua Hart, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Naomi.